Out of 900 crew members, only one heartbeat was still human. Everyone else on the Vantage horizon had been evacuated, captured, or killed when the Skarn boarding party tore through the hull 3 hours ago. Every human was gone, except her. And somehow, the Skarn commander, a 7-foot warbred alien who had personally led the slaughter of entire fleets, was standing outside a sealed cargo bay, refusing to give the order to breach it, because the last human alive on that ship was Sergeant Mara Voss. And Mara Voss did not need backup to be dangerous. 3 hours earlier, the Vantage Horizon had been a research vessel, not a warship. Its job was cataloging debris fields on the edge of neutral space. Mara wasn't even supposed to be armed. She was the ship's systems engineer, the person who fixed conduits and rebooted failing life support, not someone trained for combat. When the Skarn cruiser dropped out of slip space and opened fire without warning, that didn't matter anymore. The evacuation pods launched in under 6 minutes. Mara watched the last one go from a maintenance camera, watched her crewmates' faces pressed against the tiny windows, and made a decision that would have gotten her court-martialed if there'd been anyone left to court-martial her. She stayed behind, not out of heroism, out of math. The Skarn wanted the ship's core, a prototype reactor that could level a city if it went critical in the wrong hands. If she left, they'd have it in 20 minutes. If she stayed, she had one advantage no alien boarding party had ever accounted for. She knew the ship better than the people who built it. The Skarn commander, Threx Kalor, had boarded 300 ships in his career. He'd seen crews surrender. He'd seen crews fight and lose. He had never seen what he found when his soldiers started disappearing. The first one didn't respond to comms. His squad found him sealed inside a cargo airlock, unconscious, the oxygen slowly bleeding out. Not dead, just removed from the fight with surgical precision. The second team lost all power in Deck 4 and got trapped in a corridor for 11 minutes with the gravity plating flickering at random intervals, disorienting them just long enough for someone to walk through, disable 4 rifles, and vanish before the lights came back. No blood, no bodies, just a human systems engineer turning an entire warship into a weapon against the people trying to take it. By the time Threx reached the central corridor himself, half his boarding party was disabled, and the ones still standing were refusing to advance without him. "It's one human," he said, more to convince himself than his soldiers. One unarmed engineer, his second in command, nursing a dislocated shoulder from a bulkhead door that had slammed shut on command, didn't answer. He didn't need to. Mara met Threx exactly where she wanted to, in the reactor control room, the one place on the ship she could not afford to lose. She was not holding a weapon. She didn't need one. Her hand rested on a single console. "You're standing in the only room on this ship where I don't have to fight you," she said. "I just have to convince you that walking away is smarter than staying." Threx's soldiers raised their rifles. He raised a hand to stop them. "You've disabled 30 of my soldiers with no casualties," he said. "Why?" "Because dead Skarn soldiers start wars," Mara said. "Unconscious ones just start rumors. And I need you to survive long enough to spread this one. This reactor is rigged to overload the moment anyone but me touches that console. You take it, you get nothing but a crater. You leave, you get to tell your command that a lone engineer held a warship hostage with her bare hands and you couldn't stop her." It wasn't entirely true. The failsafe existed, but triggering it required her to still be alive and conscious in that room, hand on the console, in exactly 4 seconds. It was a bluff wrapped around a truth wrapped around a threat, and she needed him to believe all 3 layers at once. Threx studied her. Humans, according to every briefing he'd ever received, were supposed to break easily, soft, short-lived, chemically driven by fear. This woman had spent 3 hours turning his elite boarding party into a cautionary tale, and she was negotiating like she held every card in the deck. Because she did. "Command me to stand down," he told his soldiers. The Skarn cruiser disengaged 19 minutes later. Threx filed a report that would circulate through Skarn command for years afterward, one line becoming legend among his own people. The ship was empty of crew. It was not empty of will. Mara Voss never got a medal for it. There was no one left on board to give her one, and Fleet Command classified the entire incident before she'd even finished repairing the hull breach herself. But somewhere in Skarn territory, New recruits are told a story before their first boarding mission. About a lone human engineer who turned an entire warship into a trap, and about the one rule every soldier learns to respect after that day. Never assume the last human standing is the last threat on the ship.